Hey, there we go. How's it going?
Hello.
You want me to go on? You're on obviously on landscape mode. Do you want me to go landscape?
That'd be great. Thank you. Oh, nice.
Is that all right?
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries at all.
You know what? I'm so glad that it's not just us oldies that sometimes have little hiccups with our technology.
Oh yeah. Well, no, basically I've been running out of space on my phone, so I've just been erasing apps, and Zoom was one of the first to go. Unfortunately.
No worries. Here we are. Well, how long have we got, Ray?
Oh well, anytime really. I don't have too long. I'm at a service station. I've got to fill up my car, and then I'll go pick up my mum, take her to the bank actually. But yeah, I've got a couple of minutes for sure.
All right, let's get started then, shall we? You're with Shirley, that radio chick, and I'd like to welcome into the Zoom room today Ray Thistlethwayte from the fabulous Caprettos and Thirsty Merc, of course. And we've got some great news to talk about, some changes to your boy band. But if we can talk about those in a minute and perhaps start with what you've been up to lately.
Well, I just did a gig with the Goo Goo Dolls last night in where were we? We were in Newcastle last night, and then played at the Sydney Horden Pavilion the night before that, and then been in Canberra. Tomorrow I'm going to Brisbane with those guys, and then going to Adelaide, then going to Melbourne, and then that's that run wrapped up. I'm just doing bits and pieces of Thirsty Merc stuff, touring around, and basically just being a working muso, having a good time as well.
Good on
And
you. Yeah, I
yeah.
noticed that you were special guests of the Goo Goo Dolls Summer Anthem Tour. Had you worked with them before?
No, this is the first time actually, but they're really lovely guys, and everybody's really cool in the crew, and really, really good organised project. And yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, so get onto the Googleometer, people, because the Adelaide date is still to come. So grab your tickets for that. Now, just at the end of last year, I saw recently a clip. I think it was on YouTube. You and Delta Goodrem at her Christmas special doing Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. That was so good.
It was fun. Yeah, that was. I think that wasn't filmed last year. It was the one before.
Right.
Yeah, I just reposted it because it was just, it's probably the most Christmassy thing I've got, that also sounds and looks, nicely presented. And Delta's also just an absolute legend, and I love her. And yeah, it was really cool. Good fun.
Oh, yeah. No, it was beautiful. I really loved it. Thank you for posting that. Had you worked with Delta before or since?
Well, I had worked with her more in a songwriting sense, really. I attended a thing in Bali, of all places. We were both at the same sort of songwriting. It was almost like a camp. Everybody kind of went over there and set up in studios and collaborated with everybody, and it was a nice vibe.
I read about that actually. Does that happen very often? Because I hadn't heard of that sort of thing before.
That sort of thing's happening all around the world quite often, but a lot of places like Nashville, which are known for their songwriting scenes, will host things like that. This was more of an LA guy who, yeah, had people from Sweden and UK and US, and a few Aussies, of course, as well. In fact,
Yeah.
there was a Scottish guy I did a song with as well there, which was pretty cool. So, yeah, it was a good vibe.
Awesome. Now, what else have you been up to at the end of last year? You toured a little bit with your first ever band, The Box.
Oh my God, yeah, just we have like catch up gigs around the place sometimes. Just basically, we've got a guitarist that lives overseas. When he comes back, we just sort of put a few gigs in the book, and just we use those opportunities as a way to play. But also, because it's a chance to get together, we end up spending an extra day having a rehearsal, and then it just turns into a bit of a hang and a party. And that's kind of, it's fun. It's a really good vibe. It's a lot of groove, and a lot of just yeah, just we often don't see each other for most of the year because we all sort of do other stuff and working on other projects and things like that. So it just gives us a chance to sort of check in with a very a lot younger version of ourselves when we were sort of, just coming up through the ranks. And yeah, it's nice to be able to do that every year.
Yeah. So just an excuse to hang out, really.
Basically. Yeah.
So it's described as acid jazz funk jam band grooves. What's acid jazz?
Oh, look, if you look up the classic sort of acid jazz, it was probably like a combination of funk, disco, jazz sort of, but it had elements of improvising and elements of danceable grooves, but they weren't really in that sort of jazz swing sort of sense. They were more in a kind of a modern fusion sort of sense. But some of the instrumentation was borrowed heavily from jazz, and some of the elements of improvisation borrowed heavily from jazz. But really, it's sort of a crossover between funk and groove music, really. And we had an element of jam band stuff in there because we were sort of mixing that with a fusion of other things, slightly sort of psychedelic lyricism and things like that. And our lead singer kind of brought that to the front. But I think, like it's just a thing that was basically also going on in the UK in the 90s. It was a sort of, I guess the most well-known band that had pop crossover appeal from that time was Jamiroquai.
Yeah.
But also bands like Brand New Heavies and those sort of things. It's got some of those elements sonically, but I think it's also just, it's the kind of music that you'd hear a lot in venues in the 90s when you'd go out to like a residency show. There'd be that sort of music going on stage. You'd have a lot of trumpets and saxophones and a lot of groove kind of element in the band. That's really, it's just a product of the time, really. It's just
and you played in Brisbane. Ever any chance of bringing that around to, down south to Adelaide?
Maybe. I mean, we actually, myself and the singer from that band, Richie, we ended up hanging out in Melbourne pretty recently, and we thought maybe a few gigs around Melbourne could be something to talk about, and that's not too far away from Adelaide, so maybe we could do a little jaunt to Adelaide and Melbourne. It'd be kind of fun.
Sounds good. So keep an eye on your Facebook page for any details on that.
Yeah, of course. If anything comes up, I'll be posting that.
Yay! Now, the something else I noticed on your socials, which I just have to ask you about. I know I'm a cow.
Oh my God, that's just I've been doing silly little parody songs just for fun.
So that was the Cat Stevens song, Father and Son, with a little bit of a change of words. You're very clever.
Well, it was half that song, and it was also half a One Direction song, I think, or it might have been a 5 Seconds of Summer song. Might have been One Direction. Yeah, I can't even remember which of those two bands. It's a kind of half and half of both those songs with different lyrics, of course.
Yeah. Oh no, very funny, very clever. I think only
I just do that just for fun. I mean, it's just sometimes I have the idea, wake up in the morning, song comes to my head, change the lyrics and just put it up online because that's what online stuff's for, I think.
Exactly right. And I do love that, you do put it online and share your silliness with us and let us laugh along with you.
Yeah, why not? That's what it's all about.
Exactly. Now, the big news that you sort of did last year, I read the headline, Thirsty Merc singer joins Joe Santorini and Sammy Hagar from Van Halen in international supergroup. How was that?
That was great. Yeah, had a really cool run with those guys. It was like a 10-week run around the US and some very large venues and very large crowds, and obviously playing a lot of the Van Halen catalogue, and Joe Satriani doing some legendary guitar playing, filling the almost impossible to fill shoes in beautiful style of Eddie Van Halen, but just did fantastically. And, Sammy's a really great guy, really generous, lovely guy. He's in his 70s and sings great, unbelievable. So, yeah, I was really, really lucky and fortunate to be part of that group. We're actually going to Vegas to do 3 weeks as a residency soon, actually, leaving at the end of April. So I'll be doing that until mid-May and then back for some Aussie work again. So, yeah, kept in touch with those guys. It'll be fun. Well,
I saw a little bit of footage of you guys on YouTube, and you look like you were having an absolute ball.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to play the large crowds and those large stages and everything. So it's a real show. It's really fun.
And you guys have got an album out called, is it G3 Reunion Life album coming out this month?
Well, that's actually more Joe Satriani and his guitar collaborators are really sort of the headline artists in that whole thing. But yeah, I was singing on a few things that they used from live
Nice.
footage and things with soundtracks and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a whole family of musicians that are sort of in that world. And yeah, I've been lucky enough to sort of get to know a few of them over the years, which has been cool.
Awesome. Did you get any royalties?
I don't know if I will get royalties from that sort of stuff because they're just playing a lot of their old material, and I think that they're all, that's their own compositions. But
just probably pleased to be, involved a little bit.
It's just cool to be on stage with those guys. Yeah.
I bet. Okay, now, so the changes. We'll talk about the tour that's here when you get back from the US, which is the Live in 25 to July-August tour for the fabulous Caprettos. Now, this boy band, you've had a lineup change. Have you ever worked prior to when he guested with the fabulous Caprettos last year? Have you ever worked with Joe Camilleri before?
Not exactly in a formal sense, no. I hung out at his studio one time, and I've seen him on the same bill a few times, and I've watched the Black Sorrows a bunch of times, but I've never really sort of been in the band with him. Obviously, he did guest on a few things with the fabulous Caprettos already, but really looking forward to it. He's great guy, and really huge high energy performer. Actually, like he does a lot of. He sort of, once he starts those kind of grooves, the band just kind of kicks into a new level, I find.
There's no stopping him.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy, and he's got that sort of forward momentum in his guitar playing that I've always admired. So, and he plays saxophone too, and he's a cool guy. So, yeah.
Very good. Well, the tour starts on 11th of July and goes through until the 2nd of August here in Adelaide on July 25 at the Hindley Street Music Hall. So we'll look forward to seeing you down the front there. So the departing member, Russell, he's too busy.
Well, I think Russell will actually guest on a few things if we're close to his house, but I think he's sort of getting to the point in his career where, he's been doing stuff since the late 60s, really. And he's just getting to the point where the travel, he wants to pick and choose and really sort of say, look, if it's something I can go down the road, if it's a major event that I want to sort of go to here and there, he'll jump on the plane and do whatever. But I don't think he wants to get to that routine where it's like, get up, check out of a hotel, and I totally understand and respect that. I think if I'm sort of I'm 75, 76, and I hope I've got the bandwidth and the resources to pick and choose, and I hope everyone would respect that if I said that to them as well. Of course, everybody's a huge fan of Russell, and we'll have him back any time. But been a real honour to actually work with such a legend who's been around for so long and still crushing it. But I think, I think that it was getting to that thing where when you're getting a whole month of a tour book, which is just leaving hotels and getting in vans and driving hours to this place and going to the next place. I sort of, I can understand why he might want to sit out for certain shows these time. But obviously we won't be hearing some of the legendary hits, but I know that we've got a few other people coming on board, which are going to more than make up for it. And I think it's good to kind of keep a bit of, a bit of freshness in the project with some new people as well. There's so many Australian legends who've been around, and it's really nice to actually be collaborating with some different artists as well.
Oh yeah, a change is as good as a holiday. We're looking forward to it. So you can still catch Russell in Darwin and Cairns and your Tasmanian shows as well. And for the rest of the tour, we've got Wendy Matthews.
Absolute legend as well. I met Wendy first time when I was working at there was a Don Spencer Children's Music Fund show that was on at the State Theatre in Sydney. And I'd never really hung out with Wendy Matthews before. And she was in one of the backstage rooms, and we just started chatting, and I just thought, my gosh, she's got such a beautiful energy. And then by the end of the gig, there was a big Russell Crowe was there with Danielle Spencer at the time, and a lot of people were there because it was a beautiful like music fund sort of fundraiser, I guess is what the gig was. And Don Spencer's a lovely bloke, and he put a sort of item at the end of the night where everyone who was involved in it went on stage. I think I actually sung one of my songs, 20 Good Reasons, as a collaboration with Ian Moss. I think it was both of us on. Yeah, I think that's on YouTube somewhere. Anyway, but we all ended up on stage basically for the last song. And by that stage, I'd been chatting with Wendy Matthews that much that we were almost like two little silly little school kids, like standing there next to each other, like giggling at each other, just like going, "Oh, let's sing this song," And I just thought this girl's like got that energy that reminds me of, like when I was at music school or something, and you'd be put in the same like school music theatre production or something, and she just had that energy that I just know. I just love that sort of like cheeky childlike vibe of like just the love for music. It reminds me of why I started music, and she's really got that vibe, but she's just a beautiful soul, I think. So and great artist too. So I think, and plus she's got some pretty stonking big hits too. So I think the audience is going to have a great time with her involved.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it because, when Joe guested last year, some of us were like, "Ooh, what's going on?" And ultimately, Joe has become a goat. So is there a possibility of Wendy being your first female goat?
Well, certainly on these shows, she'll be more than just a guest, because she's actually, at least from what I've heard from the promoter, she'll be singing backing vocals for the whole show. So it's not like she just comes on and does a few songs and then we back her. It's going to be that kind of thing where I think she might stay on for the entire show and sing backing vocals and things. So yeah, well, I mean, we're yet to do the final rehearsals, but we are pretty well versed in getting things together at a fast speed and making it sound great. So I think we're going to be able to pull it all together very nicely. And she's going to be a great addition. The blend of her voice in there as well is going to be a nice addition that we haven't had before. So it'll be really, really good.
I think so. You're all such, seasoned professionals that you guys don't even need to be in the same room now. You can rehearse remotely and make a fabulous show.
Yeah, it's good to get together a few days here and there and just nut out what we're doing. And sometimes songs, you think something's going to work, and then you try an alternate song. Sometimes you've got two songs that were both well known in the public sort of sphere, and one of them, for some reason, when you get together with a certain bunch of musicians, just seems to find a home quicker and easier. So that it's all about that kind of thing.
Yeah,
rehearsals. It's not as if we're worrying whether we can cut the mustard in terms of making a performance work. It's more just making the set list work really well for the audience.
Yeah.
I think we do think about that a lot, and I think the audience is finding that it's got a good flow to it.
Well, we're looking forward to catching up with you at our Hindley Street Music Hall. Have you performed at that one before?
I haven't actually. No, I've played a lot. I do a lot of shows with my own band at the Gov, and I've played at the Thebby.
Bridgeway.
Sorry, which one?
And the Bridgeway. You guys performed out there.
Played places like Norwood. Quite a few shows around, and some stuff up in Jepp's Cross and a few other things as well. And then I've done small jazz things at the Wheat Sheaf as well.
Yeah.
There's some great venues. But I've been hearing more about the Hindley Street Music Hall now. So
it's been renovated. I think you'll like it.
Okay, so it's been there a long time, has it?
Yeah.
But a renovation spruces it up a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's quite nice. I think you'll enjoy playing there.
Yeah, cool. We're looking forward to it. It's nice to play somewhere a little different as well. Sometimes we do the Gov and those sort of venues. But it'll be really, really cool to check it out.
Exactly right. Well, we look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, have a great tour overseas with Joe Satriani, and we'll see you and your boy band when you get back.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for the chat, and have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, you too. Was there anything that I haven't covered, Ray, that you wanted to mention at all?
No, that's all. I think you've gone very, very comprehensive coverage there.
Good eye. I will let you fill up your petrol tank and get to your mum.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, we've got to take her up to the bank. All right.
Thanks so much for your time.
All right, no worries. Thanks, Cheryl. See you later.
Yep, bye for now.
Bye.